All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, I've cited this quote in the past because it's one of my favorite quotes. That being that history is a chronicling of replacement. No matter how great you are, eventually someone will come along to take your spot. That's the natural order of things. That's the quote unquote circle of life. At one time, LeBron James was the best player in the entire NBA. I would say probably from circa 2010 all the way through 2017, around that area. I would call LeBron James the best player in the NBA, 2017, 2018, depending on your inclinations. As of right now, I put Kawhi Leonard at the top. Why is that? Because he was able to singularly raise his team's understanding of how to win in the big spot. He made them a championship team last year due to his exploits. The Toronto Raptors were a squad that everyone knew always came up small because mentally, psychologically, spiritually, they were just not built for the big moment. He was the difference. And we all stated going into last year's playoffs that whoever played the best between Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and also throw James Harden in there, was going to have a great claim to being considered the best player in the NBA. Well, Kawhi Leonard got the job done, and he got it done in spectacular fashion, but there are still those that refuse to give him the credit that he deserves. One person being LeBron James' #1 fan, Shannon Sharp James. So, of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
NBA preseason is in full swing, and Kawhi Leonard made his much-anticipated Clippers debut last night. In just 11 minutes of work, Kawhi put up 7 points, 6 dimes, and a steal. After the game, Kawhi's teammate Landry Shamet called him, quote, the best player in the world.
And you have to call him that because he's a top 5 player just on offense. And then he's a top 2 or 3 player on defense on anybody's list. So when you combine those two things, he has to be the #1 player in the NBA, especially in light of the fact that he's coming off of leading his team to a championship. LeBron did not even lead his team to the playoffs last year. I mean, give me a break.
I sort of shudder to even go here, Shannon, but I'm going to ask, despite your facial expressions, do you agree that Kawhi is currently the best player in the world?
Hell no. I mean, this is some type of a joke. Skip Bayless. We're approaching Halloween, not April Fool's Day. Stop telling me the jokes. We all know #1 in the NBA is still LeBron James. The #2 player in the NBA right now, all of basketball, is Bronny. #3 is Maximus. #4 is our little girl, Sherry. #5 is Savannah. #6 is myself. #7 to 10, who gives a shit, Skip? Maybe James Harden, Steph Curry. One of them little niggas, who cares?
Hell no. Not even close to being the best player in the world. I mean, what do you expect Landry Shamet to say? Yeah, Kawhi had an unbelievable last season, and yes, he can score the basketball. But the only thing that Kawhi can do better than LeBron James is defend.
And get some cornrows. That's about it. Those are the only two things that Kawhi can do better than LeBron James, Skip Bayless. You know it, not know it. And Skip, take that stupid ass look off your face with that cheap ass chain that Lil Wayne gave you. You heard what I said. LeBron is still the best in the world.
Score the basketball like LeBron. He can't rebound the ball like LeBron. He can't assist the ball like LeBron.
He also can't defend like LeBron because he actually does defend.
He doesn't shoot a high. Here's Kawhi's numbers. Last year, Kawhi had a career year. 26 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists on 46.9 shooting. LeBron James had an off year. 27 points, 8.5 rebounds, 8.3 assists on 51% shooting.
Well, actually, offensively, that's not an off year for LeBron. That's pretty much what he's been doing for the last 6 or 7 years. So that's really on point with what he normally does. Where LeBron fell off was his impact on an NBA game. And that's why he knew that he needed Anthony Davis to come provide a boost for him, because even he understands that he's on the other side of the mountain. He's not sliding down the mountain, but he's walking gingerly down that mountainside on the other side of his career. There's no doubt about that. That's one of the first steps to knowing when a superstar player is starting to decline, when he's starting to fall off. He's still putting up numbers, but his numbers are not impacting the game like they used to.
An average year, an off year for LeBron James, and his off year was better than Kawhi Leonard's best year ever.
How you like that, Skip Bayless? I'm so upset. I'm so happy I'm remote, because if I was there, I might slap the shit out of you just for making this question up.
And we're going to talk about the man better than LeBron.
I can't believe this.
And this Skip Bayless, I can't believe they fixed their mouth to say this.
Oh boy! After a while, you know exactly what Shannon gonna say.
He can't run a team. He can't facilitate like LeBron James can. LeBron James can score at an elite level. LeBron
So can Kawhi.
can pass the ball at like Magic Johnson.
Nigga, please. Once again, this notion that LeBron James is as good a passer as Magic Johnson was, that's media narrative that's been getting propagated for the last 16, 17 years since LeBron came into the league, because that's how they market their young superstars. They compare them to previous superstars. So with Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, Ray Allen, Kobe, this is the next Michael Jordan. This is what he does like Michael. This is what he does better than Michael. It's part of advertising the league. With LeBron James, it was he wears Michael Jordan's number, but he plays like Magic. No, he doesn't play like Magic Johnson at all. LeBron James is a bigger, stronger, more explosive version of Oscar Robertson. And he's not even really as good a passer as Oscar Robertson was. He damn sure ain't nowhere near as great a passer as Magic Johnson was. Magic Johnson is the greatest passer in the history of the NBA, and there's not a close second. LeBron James is not even as good a passer as Larry Bird. It's close. That's why I always state the great comp for LeBron James is Larry Bird. It's not Michael Jordan. Passing ability is very close between LeBron and Larry. Impact is almost equivalent between LeBron and Larry. The difference, in my view, is Larry's skill set. Offensively, better jump shooter from mid-range, from long range, better free throw shooter, better clutch shooter, better passer, better rebounder than LeBron. Of course, LeBron is a far greater natural athlete and a better individual defender. But Larry Bird was able to accomplish basically the same thing that LeBron James has accomplished in his career in half the time. And I'm speaking about accolades, MVP awards. Larry has one less than LeBron, but he won his in 3 consecutive years. He also had the same amount of championships as LeBron, 3-3. And Larry was in an era where he couldn't go to the finals every year because he had great competition, first from the 76ers with Dr. J and Bobby Jones and Maurice Cheeks. And then, of course, later on, the great Moses Malone. And then in the mid to late 80s, you had the Bad Boy Pistons. LeBron has never really had that. He didn't break through until the Pistons were pretty much done. Then he faced the Boston Celtics, couldn't get past them, went to Miami, and was able to defeat the Celtics when they were old. All those guys were in their mid-30s.
Come on, Skip. Rebound. Come on, man. Y'all stop this. Don't be a prisoner of the moment.
Well, Shannon, we're going to find out this year. Because once again, going into last year's playoffs, the consensus was whichever star player was able to lead his team to a championship will be considered the new best player in the NBA officially. Even though pretty much for the previous year it was known, it was accepted that LeBron was no longer the best player in the league. But him not making the playoffs last year created an official point in which we could say, okay, this is the time period from which LeBron has abdicated his throne.
This is not to diminish Kawhi. Kawhi is great. Kawhi is unbelievable.
Yeah, Skip, Kawhi's unbelievable. But the nigga don't talk. And he still got cornrows in 2019. So what we supposed to do with that, Skip Bayless? A grown man has cornrows in 2019. What are we supposed to do with that?
Kawhi is not a better player than LeBron James. He's not. He's just not.
Very strong argument you have there, Shannon. He's not. He's just not.
Didn't make anybody better. And he made Siakam better? No.
Absolutely he did. Kawhi Leonard made Pascal Siakam much better as a player. Going against him in practice allowed him to be able to simulate those pressurized situations. We know for a fact that Kawhi Leonard made Kyle Lowry a far better player.
Each game, there was somebody else stepping up. When Kawhi had an off game, Siakam would step up. Kawhi had an off game, then you got Kyle Lowry. Or you got Pau Gasol.
Okay, so then where the hell were they before Kawhi Leonard got there then, Shannon? That's my question, brother.
Look, love Kawhi.
No, you don't. You're mad as hell at him for not coming to the Lakers. Stop lying.
Happy, finally, he's where he wants to be. He's healthy, hopefully.
Skip, for real, I'm happy for Kawhi. But I have to be honest with you. It took the Sharp James family many weeks of crying tears of pain to move past what he did to us. We truly believed that he was coming to the Lakers. We needed him to be there. I was even willing to acknowledge that he was better than LeBron if he would have signed with the team and helped us, because we're desperate. We're trying to catch Jordan. And right now, we're not quite sure if we got enough. Look at the Clippers roster. I looked at that roster last night by myself with a flashlight. I said, shit, these niggas have no weaknesses on defense. What are we going to do?
He's not a better player than LeBron James.
So, just for the record, the best player on this planet, right here, right now, is Kevin Durant. But obviously he's hurt.
Stop
and
playing.
Probably, I'm not playing.
Skip, knock it off. I mean, shit. I like them Save the Children commercials as well as anybody. I love helping out skinny niggas. But I'm not going to give this one to that skinny nigga. I like KD, but no, he's not the best. The best is LeBron James.
It's just the God's truth. But obviously he's
No, it's
out
not.
of sight, out of mind. So I guess everybody, I don't think he retired, did he? I don't know. Did he quit? I'm not sure about that. But
He's not the best player, Skip.
so he is the best player, but given if it just comes down to number 2, and I'm still not going to speak his name because he quit on my Spurs and he will forever be number 2 to me, but it comes down to number 2 versus the other guy who shares Staples Center, which is actually,
I tell you, boy, I hope that Ernestine don't ever betray Skip Bayless, because if she ever does, oh my goodness, we're going to hear about him on the news. World-famous sports analyst Skip Bayless is under arrest for choking his former wife Ernestine because he caught her in a sexual act with Shannon Sharpe. We have Skip Bayless right here. Skip, what happened? I walked into a room and I saw Shannon Sharpe butt naked with Ernestine, and I just saw fluids all over the ceiling, the walls, and I just lost it. I tried to fight Shannon, but I couldn't, so I just fought my wife. Oh my God, somebody help LeBron. Please help me, LeBron.
Clippers' house now because they're the slightly better team.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that, Skip. It's not the Clippers' house.
So if it comes down to these 2 guys, that's what you have narrowed it down to, then clearly number 2 is now, as Landry Shamet said, the best player in the world. I don't know if is that different than best player on the planet?
Shannon just brushed him off. Come on, Skip. What Landry Shamet supposed to say? What type of name is Landry Shamet? Is he from America? I thought he was black.
In the world, I don't know. I think they're the same thing. Shannon, I hate to tell you, but defense does play a big part of basketball
Thank you, sir.
because you have to be a 2-way. You can't just be a 1-way. And last year, LeBron was mostly a 1-way player in a 2-way game, right? Because
Look at Shannon's face. Shannon like, shit, what do I say now? I can't say shit. LeBron hadn't played defense since 2013.
for the regular season, LeBron ranked 95th in defensive win shares.
And 95th in defensive win shares is high for LeBron James. Over the last 5 years or so, I'd be willing to bet that that's his highest defensive rating over that time period.
I tell you what he was for the playoffs, but he didn't play in the playoffs. But 2 in the playoffs, ranked 3rd in all the playoffs in defensive win shares because he's a really good defender. I used to tell you back in the San Antonio days, he's the best 2-way player in basketball. And if you do weight defense at all, and I do, maybe like 60-40, if defense is 40% of basketball, then he's just better than LeBron.
Agreed. Simple as that.
LeBron became a defensive liability.
And on top of that, Kawhi Leonard can play in any system because he went to college for a certain period of time, and then he was schooled in that San Antonio Spurs system. So if you can play in the San Antonio Spurs system, you can play in any system. That's another advantage that Larry Bird has over LeBron James. Larry Bird was as dominant off the ball as he was with the ball in his hands. He didn't have to have the basketball at the top of the key, dribbling, trying to figure out who he was going to pass the ball to or shoot it. He could post up, he can get on the elbow, he could sit in the corner, he could dominate from any spot on the floor, and Kawhi Leonard can do the same thing right now because he played in a real system. LeBron can only play in one system, the LeBron James system.
And all I know is that number 2 last year, he did beat the regular season MVP in the conference finals, Giannis, obviously.
Dominated him.
A lot of help in doing that, but he outplayed him and he beat him. And then he was the MVP of the NBA finals, so I can't take those two things away. And meanwhile, your guy was watching, or maybe he was reading scripts for Space Jam 2. I don't know what he was doing, but he missed the playoffs because in the games he played last year, he went 28 and 27 as a starter. So how can you're like living in the past if you don't.
That's the only place that he can live in if he wants to make this argument, Skip. We all know that. That's how LeBron James fans are. They want to give LeBron a pat on the back for shit that he did 6 years ago and try to act as if that's going to trickle over into now.
Up and give in to the new notion that number 2 is the best player on the planet.
Because I'm just looking at you. You tell me numbers. I mean, you tell me look at Tom Brady's numbers. What does the numbers say?
Shannon Sharp, what does Tom Brady have to do with this argument? Skip Bayless just stated that in basketball, in the NBA, you evaluate who the best player is based on what they're doing on both ends of the floor. Tom Brady cannot play defense. Why are you bringing up Tom Brady? This is something that Shannon has obviously been prepped to do by whoever his handlers are. They tell him, whenever Skip brings up LeBron, you bring up Tom Brady, because that will cause confusion when you don't know what to say.
Numbers say 31-41, and they won the game, right? Kawhi Leonard had a career year. Let that sink in. A career year. LeBron James.
Did Kawhi really have a career year, or did he just have a regular Kawhi year? Because I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that Kawhi had the same season in the 2016-2017 season, in the regular season, about 26 points per game, 26.5 points per game, and I think he shot a higher shooting percentage that year with the Spurs. I don't think that he had a career year last year. I think that he's going to have one this year, though.
Bayless and a lot of others said LeBron James stepped off a cliff, and LeBron had more points.
Who said that? Who said that LeBron stepped off a cliff? Stop concocting strawman arguments, brother.
And assists, and shot a high field goal percentage than Kawhi, who had a career year, who's what, 6 years younger than LeBron?
Okay.
Granted, I believe LeBron defensive numbers will pick up this year.
Allegedly. LeBron's defensive numbers are going to pick up when they've been in the same area for the last 5 or 6 years. I wouldn't bet on it, bro. As a matter of fact, what I would bet on are the Lakers getting very frustrated on defense, especially when they try to outsize many of their opponents, bringing Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee out there on the floor at the same time, or Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard out there on the floor at the same time, and going against teams with stretch 5s and stretch 4s that are going to really space out their defense and force them to have to guard their man one-on-one. Anthony Davis realizing that he has to not only guard his man, but also LeBron James's man as well. Rajon Rondo, Avery Bradley are not the defenders that they once were, nor is Danny Green. I expect them to get frustrated at certain points in the season, especially going against teams like the Denver Nuggets, the Houston Rockets, that are going to play 5 men out. We'll see what happens.
He won't have the offensive load that he's had the previous 16 years. He won't need to have to try to get 8, 9, 10 rebounds a game because he has AD, JaVale, and Dwight Howard assisting the ball. Now, I believe those numbers will be on the uptick because I believe for the large part, Skip, whether he's listed as a point guard or not, that's unimportant to me. LeBron James is going to have the ball in his hand the majority of the time.
Of course, because once again, he has to play in the LeBron James system. Last season, he claimed that he was going to play off the ball. He can't really be effective playing off the ball. He has to play with the basketball in his hands, especially if he's not going to be a good defensive player.
And I believe his assist total will be at a career high. I believe he'll for the first time in his career, year 17, I do believe he'll average double digit in assists.
Now, how many times did Shannon Sharp use the word believe in this last little portion of his soliloquy? In other words, he has no proof for anything that he's saying. He just has hope. And you know what? Hope is a good thing, as Andy Dufresne would say. But in this case, I wouldn't bet on it.
All I know is that even though it was just preseason game, man, number 2 looked happy last night.
Well, you know what, Skip Bayless? That's a good nickname you got for him, number 2. Because that's the same nickname I got for your ass, because you ain't shit.
he looked dominant last
Yeah,
night
yeah.
because he only played 11 minutes, scored 7 points, but he had 6 assists. He looked like he was really in the flow. And guess who got 3 of his assists? Big Zoo. Remember Big Zoo? Used to love him. He used to be a
He's going to be the secret weapon for the LA Clippers because he's going to have to provide the size and the skill to try to nullify players like JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. He's going to be very important for them this year. Zubac.
Magic just gave him away.
Yeah, but man, you know I love Zoo Skip, and he was playing. You remember when they played the Nuggets at home? Big Zoo was giving it to him. LeBron was feeding him. He had a game 20 points and like 8, 9 rebounds. Was doing it, and I couldn't believe Magic gave him away. I love his game. Play with his back to the basket. He'll challenge you at the rim, rebound the ball. Yes, I think he can be a very good player. And yes, Kawhi's gonna look. Another defender. You got 4 defenders right there because he's going to start. So you got Kawhi on one wing, got Paul George on the other. You got Pat Bev in the front end of the thing, and you got Zoos on the back end. So yeah, they're going to be a heck of a deep team defensively.
Yeah.
That's not even counting that monster they got coming off the bench, that Montrezl Harrell. They're going to be a very difficult team to handle.
And don't forget, number 2.
We got Bron.
Number 2's PR man, Landry Shamet, right? Right? I think he hired him to do PR.
Exactly.
Andrew Shaman can really play.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the end,
we're gonna see.
In the end,
Yeah, Skip, we're going to see. We got something for Landry Shamet. Him and that damn hook nose he got. I got to be careful what I say because I know he could sniff it out.
all that I have to sort of hang on to my last memories of LeBron James, and all I can reach back for last year was.
Don't do it, Skip.
I can't help myself.
Skip, if you play that highlight package one more time, I promise you, next time I see you, I'm going to bust you upside your head.
Because there was this paper reel out there. I don't know where it came from, but can we just see it again? LeBron, oh, you threw it off the back of the backboard. Come on, LeBron. Oh, wait a minute. Kuz just pushed him out to come.
That's some of that great defense that Shannon expects LeBron James to play this year.
Three-point shooter. Have you ever seen that before? I've never seen that happen before. LeBron.
This is LeBron trying to act as if he has an extremely high basketball IQ, but he's just so damn lazy. He don't want to dribble the ball up the floor.
Then he kicks it out of bounds. Come on, you're better than that. You're the best player on the planet. Wait a second. Mario Hezonja just blocked his last-second shot?
What? What's going on, LeBron James? I've been hating on you for 16 years, and you're finally starting to prove me right.
Mercy. Come on. That's all you had last year. Those are his highlights, right?
Hold on.
Man.
So the man plays, so let me get this right. The man plays 55 games, averages over 27 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and you pick the 4 worst plays out of those 55 games and say, this is what your man has become.
That's right. You got it.
Actually 6 or 8 other ones, but we don't have time, and I don't want to pile on. I just narrow it.
Yeah, Shannon, that's pretty much an edited version of a 20-minute low-light reel of LeBron James's 1 year with the LA Lakers. I love watching it. I go home every night, me and Ernestine watch it. Gets me hot and horny for later on that night.
For those 4,
Yes, you do.
because Mario Hezonja, oh, God. Now he's a trailblazer,
Okay,
so LeBron's
what
going to
about-
see more.
What about those triple dubs? You ain't put any of those. What about that 50-point, that virtuoso when he went on the road to Miami? What about what he did to the Nuggets?
28
Come on,
and
Skip.
27.
Come on, Skip. What about him being 6'8", 255 pounds of sexual chocolate? Me and LeBron walked down Rodeo Drive. We got to fight off the women with a 2x4. You jealous? It's okay, Skip. I wish you didn't have a bird chest, but you do.
Come on, Shannon. I'm sorry. You got to give it up because the
Well, that's all
Clippers clearly look to be a little better than the Lakers are right now, and it pains me to have to
Guess what,
admit it.
Skip?
But
We're gonna find.
you know, if I can stoop to admitting it, you have to stoop to admitting it. Number 2 is the
No,
best
we're
player
gonna
on the
guess
planet.
what? We're gonna get to find out in about 11 days.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get to find out. All this bumping the gums ain't gonna be nothing. Cause we're gonna see. Kawhi gonna have to see us.
Yo, Shannon talks so much shit. He's talking so much shit. He act like he's still on the Broncos back in 1996 or some shit. Like he's talking to some defensive lineman or some linebacker. He's talking and he's writing checks that LeBron's gonna have to cash.
Well,
Somebody got to deal with AD.
somebody's going to have to deal with Jen's Pelicans because this must.
The Pelicans are going to be a dark horse team to make the playoffs in the Western Conference, especially if Zion Williamson stays healthy for the whole season. They're going to be a problem. All they need is some guaranteed outside shooting. They may have some problems defensively, who knows? Even though with Zion as well as Lonzo on defense, they should be pretty much okay, especially if that center that they drafted can possibly be a force for them on defense. But they're gonna sneak some wins this season, no doubt about it. They're gonna win a couple of games against top teams in the Western Conference.
Ooh, is that not going to be fun?
I can't wait.
And Zion Williamson is definitely going to win NBA Rookie of the Year. I've seen him in a couple of preseason games. That boy's dominant. Like he has dudes bouncing off of him when he drives to the basket.
Man, we're going to go down there and drink up all them smoothies at the Smoothie King
Really?
Center.
Yeah.
We're going to drink up all them smoothies.
Come see
Yeah.
me. Come on.
You know, at some point, fairly soon, maybe that kid named Zion will be challenging for best player on the planet. You just might.
Another 3-4 years, we'll see.
Well on his way.
I mean,
isn't
Skip,
on his way.
Skip,
Yeah.
we can't be the best player on the planet for perpetuity.
Yeah, Skip Bayless. We can't be the best player on the planet for perpetuity. We've only been the best player since Jordan retired from the Bulls the second time in 1998. We've only held the title now for the last 20 plus years. So, okay, we got to hand over to Kawhi. If you say it's Kawhi, it's Kawhi. We'll find out this season. But as far as Zion, hell no. Skip Bayless, you know that movie Single White Female? I call Zion Single Black Male. He's stalking LeBron.
We just been the best player for the past decade. I mean, nobody's had a stretch this long. Nobody has had a stretch as long, a continuous stretch of being the best player on the planet like LeBron James. That's fact.
Okay.
Well, I'm not quite sure about that. Kareem was pretty much considered the best player in basketball from 1970 all the way through 1980, 1981, around that area.
I'll give you that. And it means what? It means nothing. Because we're talking about right
It
here,
means we about to
right
get-
now.
It means we about to get that title this year, right here, right now.
Okay? Maybe it means that LeBron's about to catch Michael B. Jordan as an actor. I don't know. That's about all he's going
There
to
you
do.
go. There you go.
Y'all are
It'd be funny as hell if that damn Space Jam Part 2 flops.
fun
Well, you
season
stick-
of
you stick
debate.
it.
That is for sure. No doubt.
You keep talking. You keep talking.
We're going to keep talking.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. We'll see how things go with this LA Clippers versus LA Lakers rivalry, and whether or not Kawhi Leonard will be able to maintain his stranglehold on the throne in the NBA. So peace.